Yo, what's poppin' peeps? You got your boy Nandra here. Welcome to another video. So for this video, as you can see from the deck roulette, which is actually accurate for once, I'm playing some new hotness. This is another intro to building. So this is gonna be an intro to building Feastbat control. So for those of you who might know, or I guess who might be in the know, like generally like right now people don't perceive blood to be in a pretty good, to be in like a good state, and well I'm here with a young meta breaker deck Kappa to go ahead and change some of your opinions. Now for me personally, I don't really particularly like enjoy the aggro. Well, I don't particularly enjoy playing the aggro like 1 to 5 or whatever. Like I just like care about whatever win. Although that might just be because I have a very unfortunate luck. But anyway, when I play blood, like I usually like the more like value town style of decks. Like so usually just like the slower decks. And I also really like Spawn of the Abyss. Spawn of the Abyss is one of those cards that, like, it might be boring. It might be like really boring for a lot of people, just because like he's very simple. Like he does exactly one job. He does that one job very well to some extent, or just like damage. this board brings the hurt, but he's still one of the best win cons in the game, or of any card game actually. Just because like he's simple to the point, very difficult in this game to kill, and even if you wanted to block it, well, it's kind of hard to block it too. So good times. So let me go ahead and actually show you guys the deck in a more condensed view. So I was working on a bunch of different blood decks, as you can see from my deck list or whatever. But this is the one that like I enjoyed the most. So we'll go ahead and cover each card. 3 Happy Pig. To be honest with you, the Happy Pig could definitely be a 2 of, but at the moment, like I want it 2 drops so I'd be able to contest the board. 3 Spiderweb Imp. Spiderweb Imp is still a great ward, probably one of the best wards, especially late game, just because like 4 HP is a lot to get through for a ward, and that's pretty good. It's pretty clean. 3 Baphomet. Baphomet is like your tutor. It pulls you things from the game. It pulls you things from your deck. That's very important, because a lot of the cards you pull, or sorry, some amount of cards you pull are very strong at what they do, and like it's just a very strong tutor. It's also offensively static too, which is pretty good. 2 Razor Claw. So initially, so in my opinion, I think at the moment with control decks, with like control blood in particular, like I don't think you can escape playing Razor Claw, because Razor Claw does like some nice clean damage. Now maybe this will change in the future once you get like some more cards from like say the mini expansion or say set 9. But for the moment, 2 Razor Claws are just really nice. Like some quick damage calcs is that like Razor Claw plus Spawn of the Abyss, if Spawn of the Abyss is not evolved and it gets the clean shot off, in which both gets its effect and connects to face, that's 14 damage. That's a lot of damage. Yeah. If you have Spawn of the Abyss plus Emeralda plus Razor Claw, I believe that's 18 damage. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's really good civilization, fam. 3 Snarling Chains. So again, like the removal is really good. The Snarling Chains help out a lot because they help proc Dark Feastbat, and they're also just like really strong removal, and that just happens to do like damage. Like so, technically with Dark Feastbat, generally I usually only end up playing 1 before the end of the game, because that's usually the one I use to kill them. But you can technically think of your Snarling Chains as effectively being 2 mana, deal 3 to an enemy follower, then deal 1 to your leader, but deal 2 to the enemy leader. That's really strong. 3 Mask of Black Death. So one of these used to be a Blood Moon, but ultimately like I decided to again like stop playing Blood Moon, just because like I wanted to practice for the new Blood Legendary, but that'll be like something we talk about later. But ultimately like I realized that like from the games, like playing Mask of Black Death is still just as unfair as it was when I first saw this card. Like if anything, this card has gotten even better, just because like there are a lot of really interesting things that like playing this card like enables you to do. Like for example, 10 mana. Oh, your opponent can't pop the mask. Oh, okay, go ahead and play 10 mana mask plus Spawn. Like and that's like threatening lethal. Again, Spawn is very hard to kill, so this usually frees you up to do it. That's like nice. Or say 9 mana. Emeralda, kill a creature, gain storm. Oh, play a mask to go ahead and block and back you back up. Like if you've ever played Hearthstone, you'll know that ice block and ice barrier, very strong cards. Same thing here. 2 Singer. So honestly, I generally when I play Singer, like it's either I play 2 of it or I play 1 of it. I don't play 3, and this is no exception because like this draws you cards, this draws you cards. Additionally, I go second a lot, so so if you ever play Singer where you're going second, you feel awful because you almost assuredly always overdraw because you usually tend to find Belphegor when that happens. So as a result, I decided I was just gonna play 2, so it's not too bad. 2 Blood Drinkers brand. So I needed a lot of space to play all the cards I wanted to play, and ordinarily I would have just made this 3. It's still pretty good. Like you just use it as spot removal most times, but there are certain situations where you can use it for the actual effect because thankfully most blood creatures are actually pretty tanky. There's certain things you can do with it, such as for example, use it on like let's say Scarlet, because most people usually don't like touching Scarlet to begin with. So if you like evolve the Scarlet and it's just like a 6, and maybe say it's at like 6 HP or something like that, you can go ahead and like Blood Drinkers it and then go ahead and heal 4 with it. You can use it to kill off next, which is kind of cool. Most times you'll almost never do this like unless it gets you like 1 point of damage that you need for like lethal or something silly like that. It's more of something that you do in like Jorm. But yeah, but it's also just very, very strong removal in and of its own right. I think the biggest or best uses of it are to use it on Emeralda, and also to use it on Spawn. Maybe sometimes Dark Feastbat too if you can get it, but that's I haven't had a situation where that's happened yet. 1 Wardrobe Raider. So as I said numerous times, I need to make space to cut other things. Additionally, Wardrobe Raider requires an Evo for me to feel like it's like a great card, and a lot of my cards in this deck require Evos. Like Nact usually requires an Evo, Belf usually requires an Evo, Scarlet usually requires an Evo but can sometimes get away with it. Spawn usually requires an Evo. Well, not always. In the force match it requires an Evo, but like in other matches you can usually get away with like not Evoing it. That's as a result, I'm just like playing one of these. Like you already heal a lot with like say Happy Pig and Scarlet, so like you don't need that much healing. Additionally, you also have Mask, so you effectively have, if you assume that only one of these will heal you for 3 and the other ones will heal you for 2, that's 5. This is effectively 15 HP in healing, so that's 20. These heal for 2, that's 26. Plus this is 28. So you effectively start games at like about like 30 to like 40 HP, and that's already quite a lot of HP. So 3 Belf is part of your draw engine. The other thing that Belf does for you is also a solid mid-game unit. Like Belf just draws you a lot of pressure. Now one thing I like doing with this deck is usually my mid-game curve is going to be Belf, well if I'm going second, is going to be Belphegor evolve into say Nact, maybe say evolve the Nact if I have to, but most times you usually don't. Because like the Belphegor usually forces them into a bad spot, and to say Nact into then say Scarlet to go ahead and regain my tempo, and then I go ahead and like start making plays from there. And that's usually a pretty nice curve overall. The other thing is that later in the game, once you're already in vengeance, because usually once you get into vengeance, you don't like leave or you don't like get too far out of it. But yeah, once you get into vengeance, like playing like more Belphegors in the future is like it's just like 4 mana draw 2 and get a 4/4. That's usually pretty strong. There's Scarlet. Scarlet is still one of the best things you can do on 5, just because like it's a pain to deal with. Like most times, if your opponent plays in such a way that they give you like a 4/2 creature or something like that, you can just ping it off with Scarlet. You don't even need to evolve, and they have to get rid of it because until they get rid of it, they can't play big units, and that usually requires an Evo. And anytime their opponents have like Vulture in the mid game, that usually frees you up to play Nact, and that's great. Moving on, Nact. So Nact is like the big reason for why I wanted to play this deck, or rather why I think this deck works. Now I know most people, like when they look at this deck, they're like, why don't you have Jormungand? Well, I don't play Jormungand because this isn't a Jormungand deck. Like this deck like does different things. Like this deck literally like how it works is that you play Nact, you try to play it as early as possible, then you let the pings rack up over time, because again each Nact ping for you is essentially 2 damage for your opponent, 1 damage from the Nact ping herself, and then like one more damage for Dark Feastbat, and that's kind of crazy. The Jormungand just kind of like slow it down or whatever. Additionally, Jormungand requires like a slightly different playstyle Lastly, Jormungand's also require evos, and blood it does not have. It's not like free with the evos. So I feel just have like a billion ways to just like get them. So I am playing 3 now. Initially, I wanted to. I was only willing to play 2, but then it occurred to me that Portalcraft is the thing that I keep into on a pretty frequent basis, right? So I should probably just go and play 3. Additionally, Haven as well, because like sometimes you do have like unfortunate situations where like all your stuff does get banished. You're just like sad. Yeah, like the card just like puts in a lot of work. Oh, additionally, because of what it does, sometimes when people see Knack, they're going to assume that you're playing Jormungand, so you get to give them misinformation. And sometimes if they do have a banish of some sort, they won't use it on Knack. They'll try to save it for Jormungand, trying to like outplay you, just because like everyone knows that Jormungand players almost somehow always have Jorm on 6, right? But yeah. To Fenrir, so I did say before that blood has like issues with evolves or whatever, and Fenrir kind of like fixes this gap a little bit. Just because usually you can kind of think of Fenrir as like a more aggressive Scarlet a lot of times. Well, and the sole exception of killing big units, because Fenrir doesn't do that. Like, or maybe you can think of it as like a Wardrobe Raider, basically. Anyway, so Fenrir comes out, it kills a unit, and then it usually kills a second unit, because most times this is coming out during like the last stages of the Evo war, where usually your opponent has value traded into something that you have on play, and usually those things typically tend to be at 2 HP. So like it usually comes out, gets a kill, and usually because it killed a weak unit that had maybe say 2 attack or something like that, or maybe say even 1 attack sometimes. That usually means that Fenrir tends to be at about 3 to 5 HP, and that makes that a pain for your opponent, thus giving you space to play Knack if you like, or thus giving you space to play Jorm. And that's, oh sorry, not Jorm, sorry, to play Spawn, I'm sorry. To Reach of the Archdemon. So the Reach of the Archdemon, like I had it as a 3 of them, and like all these different bloodlists I was using. However, in practice, what I found a lot of times is that like I was usually playing in such a way that like most times I didn't really need all 3 of them. I usually only need like maybe say 1 or 2. Like for example, like versus aggro. Yeah, like definitely having this card in your deck helps a lot, because like a thing you can do with it is you can actually go ahead and play Reach of the Archdemon. If you're in Vengeance, that gives you back 3 mana. With the 3 mana, you can kind of play Mask. Usually, when you do that, you usually win the game, because like they can't come back from that. Like they just can't. It's too strong. To Emeralda. So with the Emeralda, like ordinarily, as you guys may know, like I usually like having my Emeralda be a 3 of. However, unfortunately, again, space constraints were too strong, and so I couldn't do it this time. So I just have it as a 2 of. Like Emeralda is still one of the best turn 7 plays in the game. It's also still one of the best control tools in the game, just because the effect is very flexible, being able to stray either amulets or creatures, and then also gaining Storm makes it a nice like win con at the back. As I said before, you can use it with Spawn, because right now like there's not many reasons to respect Vengeance. Like the only like Vengeance payoff cards that exist in the current game are Blood Drinkers. Oh, sorry, that exists in rotation anyway. Blood Drinkers Brand, Pazuzu, Silver Chain Disciple, Reach of the Archdemon, Emeralda, and I think there's like one other card, exactly one other card. Like, and none of those are like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose the game because I did that. Like you don't have to have the same fear that you had before, where it's like, oh well, I'm gonna get Revelation if I put them into Vengeance, but I don't kill them yet. So a lot of people do just like willingly put you in a Vengeance, and when that happens, you just go and just like Emeralda them, you just like make them look silly. Like Emeralda plus Razor Claw is 7 damage. That's a lot of damage for 9 mana. Or again, Emeralda plus Spawn, or also just sometimes Emeralda, clear off some stuff on the board to go ahead and stall for another turn, then go ahead and like Dark Feastbat them for like 1 billion. Good times. Alright, so I'll go ahead and cover Spawn before I cover Dark Feastbat. So Spawn is it's the plan B. Like, well, it's the plan B, but it can also be the plan A. Like, generally for me, and I think I've said this in a few videos now, I don't like one-dimensional decks. Like, I don't like decks where it's like, okay, well, you either need to hit this or bust, like, and there's no alternatives. Like for example, the old Blood King decks or whatever. Like, I don't actually like in theory they're amazing, but in practice they're actually ass, because like they only do one thing really well, but the getting there is like hard for them. Like, same thing here. Like, the Dark Feastbat does a lot of damage, but like sometimes it's really, really hard getting there because you either don't find Nact, or like you're versus something that, or like you're versus a deck that for whatever reason prevents you from playing Nact. Well, here's Spawn. Spawn is really, really hard to prevent from it coming out, because if you're at all healthy, there's not that much burst in rotation. Like contrary to popular belief, like there really isn't. So like if you're at like, I don't know, maybe it's like 13 to 15 HP, which does tend to happen, particularly even if you play Belfort, it can happen where you're just at like that, like really healthy total. You can just like play out Spawn does like 11 damage. That 11 damage like immediately just like brings you so much closer to the finish line, because like you do like getting chip damage early, and as I said before, if you only get like 5 points of damage, you have enough to kill people, because Spawn plus Emerald by itself is 15. So like 5 damage a day is not that much over the course of the game. Additionally, you might be wondering, well, why is it a 1-of then if it's that good? Well, it's a 1-of because like you don't always play it in every single matchup, and 2, when you want it, you have Singer, Belphegor, and fucking Baphomet to go ahead and dig you into it. Like the amount of cards that this deck has is pretty strong for the most part. Like you draw like a nicest number of cards, not too much but not too little either. Yeah, so this is the deck. Like it's probably quite a few vials, I think, because like I'm playing like at least 6 different legendaries that I know of. 3, 6, 9. I'm playing 9 legendaries, so it's probably about like closest to about like 40k vials maybe. But the deck is pretty strong. I do have some concept games for you guys, and I'll be showing those later today. But like, if you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and hit the subscribe, and let me know what you think about Feastbat Control down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.